morning, everybody, and welcome back. Beautiful morning today, nice and sunny, cool. And I think what we'll do is we'll try to get that chicken run as finished as we can. I'm sure we won't get done today, this week, but we'll see how much we can get done. I'll kind of show you what we're up against, and then we'll get some wood milled up, and we'll get putting it together today. Okay, if you're just joining me on this project, we built the chicken coop in the fall, and now we're working on this outdoor enclosed area. I'm going to have an outside run for them that's just enclosed with a fence, but then I'm wanting this area, it's about 16 by 16 or something like that, and I'm wanting it completely enclosed and the ceiling covered in chicken wire. That way it keeps the hawks and the raccoons and the possums and the dogs and everything else that loves to eat chicken away from them. If you have chickens and you live out in the country like I do, it's a good idea to have somewhere that they're safe, because they'll even come during the middle of the day and come get them. My plan for this is to, I've got a pretty good start on the structure. I'm wanting to do another run along the bottom with the oak boards. And I think what I'll do is I'll keep the bottom one about 6 inches off the ground, just so it doesn't get a lot of water on it. And then the bottom of the chicken wire I'll actually bury in the ground, so something can't burrow underneath it either. So that's kind of the plan. We'll see how much we can get done today. All right, guys? Well, we're back another day on the mill, cutting more wood for the chicken enclosure. It's a shame to use this beautiful oak on a chicken run, right? That's like furniture grade stuff there, except this is post oak, not red oak, which I like red oak better, which I have some on the property. But this is post oak, which can be pretty too if you take care of it. But yeah, that's just a beautiful piece of wood right there. And when you start cutting down here near the center of the tree, like right there is the very center, you end up cutting what would be called, these last one here would be like rift sawn. And the ones a few above that are quarter sawn, where the rings are almost vertical or at a 45 degrees to the wood. And that gives you this beautiful raise in the wood. I love that part of the tree. A lot of times I'll save a 1x or something out of there for furniture possibly one day. You know, God sure knew what he was doing when he created the oak tree. I counted the rings, and this one was about a 130-year-old tree, which kind of surprised me it was that old. It was pretty slow growing, I guess. I took it out from down in the field because it had died last year, but most of its life, or all except for the last few years, it's in the woods, I assume. So it's been a slow growing tree. So that means that one was a sapling like in the late 1800s. That's a beautiful piece of wood, that's for sure. Okay, well, that log yielded a dozen 2x6s. I did end up cutting a couple of 1x6s out of the center where those rays were in the wood. I like those, so I saved those and I let that dry for like at least a year before I could use it for furniture. And I got a couple of like 3/4 inch wide boards out of there also. So all in all, pretty good yield out of that log. It'll go to good use. Okay, I am pre-drilling the holes in the ends. I started this project using 16 penny nails, but it is really hard to drive into this whole oak. So I've gone back to using screws like most things in this project. So I pre-drill the ends because this oak is really hard, and that makes it a lot easier when I'm installing them. Okay, I have all the wood cut to length now and holes started in the ends of all of them. Now we'll go to installing the boards on the enclosure. I put these little screws in here to hold the boards at the right elevation, so there's 4-foot spacing for the chicken wire. The bottom ones, like I said, I'll just leave those about 6 inches off the bottom just so they don't come in contact with the ground, to attach the wire real good to the bottom, and then I'll bury the very bottom of the wire. So we can start putting those on. Okay, we have all our horizontal boards installed now. Now what I'd like to do, I think, is take this upper section, put some diagonal boards in, just to give it a little extra stability. So I think I'd kind of like to do that next then. Okay, well, that's pretty much all the wood to attach to it. I'm going to put a door in this opening right here, and then I'll put an additional door into this opening. And for the ceiling, it's about a 16-foot span, so I've ordered some steel square tubing that will go over the top. I think that might be the best way to do that span. There's not going to be a lot of load, seeing how it's going to be wire mesh. The only load there could be, I'm a little worried about, is if we were to get an ice storm, and there's a lot of load of ice up there. But for the most part, I don't think we'll have to worry about that, and it should be able to hold several hundred pounds anyway up there. So the next step is trying to determine the best way of attaching the wire around the outside. Being able to hold up the spool high enough to be able to use, or do I just cut it in sections and put up a piece at a time? Being that I'm by myself, that might be the easier way of doing it. So we'll look into doing that next. Well, everybody, we got all the wood on our enclosure. Next step is the screen. The breeze picked up, clouds came in, and it just dropped like 10 or 15 degrees in the last 30 minutes or so. So I think we're going to call it good for this week. And join me next week. We should be able to start putting the wire on, and then the doors. And that tubing should come in this next week also, the steel tubing for the roof. So it's starting to really take shape. And thank y'all for joining me. Hope you have a good week, and hope to see y'all down the trail.